Our first guest was an All-American quarterback at BYU. He played 6 seasons in the NFL and most recently served 11 years as a general authority, 70 for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Our pleasure to welcome back to the Wise Guys this member of the College Football Hall of Fame, our good friend Gifford Nielsen. Good to see you.
You guys really are wise guys. It is so good to be with you.
Listen, when you hear Oregon State, does your knee hurt? It was in that game in 77 that kind of ended your collegiate run, ended your Heisman Trophy run as you got hurt there. And then you went, after that year, you went right into the NFL. But Oregon State has got to have some kind of a, when I thought of Oregon State and in playing in Vegas and that we were going to talk about it, I thought it was ironic that we were also going to introduce you right after that.
Well, it's one of the great lessons that I have learned in life because everything was just going so beautifully. And it was just, I think at the time we were the leading scoring team in the nation. We had the leading pass offense in the nation. We were just making things happen, very high level at that time. And you just never know, you know, in a game, just one play, tackle coming in from the outside and one of our tackles doing the best job he possibly could. And then your knee gets hurt and you're done.
You're 21, 22?
Yeah.
So you're 21, 22-year-old. How did you manage through that? And can you remember what that was like? That's got to be devastating. So how do you personally manage through that? And then that kind of a devastating setback, when you did overcome it, because obviously you did, what lessons did you learn?
Well, it was interesting because before the season started, I mean, I was coming off my All-American year, and I thought, okay, this is going to be amazing what we're doing right now, and we were only going to get better. So for some reason, Wendy, my wife, and I got together before the season was over with, and we wrote down our priorities, the things that were most important. And I don't know why we did that, but we did that and
in 1977
and put it in an envelope. And it was interesting because the priorities really centered on not what I was accomplishing, but what BYU was starting to accomplish because it had never happened. The national recognition had never gotten to that level, and the excitement in football had never gotten to that level. And so we wrote down the priorities, and it was very interesting. We put it in an envelope and put it in the drawer and didn't think about it. Then we started off gangbusters, and everything was just moving, and it wasn't about us. It wasn't about me. It was more about the team and everything else. And so when I got it hurt and I had the surgery, there were a lot of people on that Sunday morning because they did the surgery that night. Dr. Robert Metcalf did the surgery that night. And I said to Wendy, I said, hey, I got up and the whole room was just, people had tears in their eyes. It was just a crazy time. I said, hey, go get that letter. So she went and got the letter, brought it to me. And in the hospital, we opened up the letter, and it had nothing about repeat All-American quarterback, nothing about the Heisman Trophy. It had everything to do with our players winning and BYU establishing itself more as a football power. And I thought, well, first, second, third, fourth priorities, it's all going to happen.
Still on the table.
And it continued to go. So
it
was a great lesson. And I'm not sure to this day why we were inspired to do that, but we did that. And it was one of the great lessons that I've ever learned that, you know, it's not about you. You can hear that all the time. It's not about you. It's about the program and everything that we were trying to develop.
Here's Timothy on the live stream. Dropping the kids off at school in Australia. Realize I'm late for Wise Guys. Happy to jump on and hear some stories from a legend.
Good day, mate.
It's tomorrow, so kids are already going to school in Australia.
When we have, that's what we were talking about earlier, Giff, you were here in the green room, and it's like folks check in, they go, hey, I'm in from Philippines. Yeah. It's 10 a.m. I'm sitting in the office listening. Cougar Nation is all over the world. You talk about they weren't recognized yet.
Spent a lot of time in Australia. Good day, mate. All of those great people in Australia. Love them.
Sports is laced with life lessons. It's what makes it so good. It's what makes everyone relate to it, even if they don't get to the NFL, right? They're just playing on their side yard. That thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, ABC coined that phrase perfectly for Wide World of Sports. But what did you learn about yourself? Because we love comeback stories. And you had to have a comeback story. You had to have surgery. And then you had to come back and get NFL ready, which is different from college ready. What did you learn about your comeback story?
Yeah, very interesting because the Houston Oilers at that time took a chance on me.
Yeah.
And so I didn't play the rest of that year. We were starting off and just the leading team in the entire country, leading scoring team, passing team, offensive team. It was just amazing what was going on. And then the injury. And then you start to get yourself ready for what is the next chapter. And Dr. Metcalf did a great job on my knee, and I started the rehab.
Was it an ACL gift?
It was a medial collateral that detached away from the bone.
Oh.
So it's really a good, if you have a knee injury,
that's
a good knee injury, because what happened is they just reattached the medial collateral, and it wasn't a damaged ligament, stapled it to the bone, and to this day, I have never had any problem with it.
That's better than it tearing mid.
If you tear it, then you have to piecemeal it back together. But
and better than an ACL for sure.
Yeah.
But Robert Metcalf, we should give him a little credit. Like, BYU was on the cutting edge. Robert Metcalf, to this day, is still considered the father of arthroscopic surgery.
So this is interesting, Blaine. Do you want to hear this? This is fascinating, because Blaine said, Dave said, sorry, Dave, I'm going to your dad.
That's an honor
Dave,
for me. See, call me that.
So Dave would never be sad if you call him Dale.
Dave said to me, he said, give me a President Nelson story. You want to hear a great President Nelson story?
Yeah.
So here he is, our prophet, and he sat down at lunch with me one day in the lunchroom, and that's just his leadership style. And we were talking about, I said to him, President, how did you come up with the heart-lung machine? How did you figure out that you had to take blood out of the body and fix the heart and then put blood back in the body? And he said, well, we were just kind of inspired on how to do it. We'd figured out how to do it. And it was like my dear friend, Robert Metcalf. And I went, President, what'd you say? And he said, my dear friend, Robert Metcalf, I had the heart-lung machine, and our team was working on that, and he was working on a new operational situation called arthroscopic surgery. And I said, President, you're not going to believe this, but Robert Metcalf operated on my knee in 1977, and I've never had a problem with it. And he goes, was it arthroscopic surgery? And I said, there is one little cut in my knee. He tried to do it with arthroscopic surgery, and he couldn't do it. So then he had to do the regular surgery. And I just thought, how cool was it to be talking to the prophet about his close friend, Robert Metcalf?
It's really cool.
Isn't that amazing?
And it comes full circle. Yeah. And BYU has always had the best and the brightest affiliated with the program, whether it's on the field or the people that support what's on the field. And we go back because Dr. Metcalf was there when I first got there as well. And then I went off and did a career in orthopedics, and people would talk about, well, Robert Metcalf. And I thought, that was our team orthopedic guy.
Yeah, it was guy.
Pretty amazing that he did your knee and no ill effects from it.
No problem.
Full strength.
6 years in the NFL and never had a problem with it, even to this day.
That's
never
awesome.
Had a problem.
Amazing.
More President Nelson stories from you coming up. Jacob's on the stream from Louisville, Kentucky. Debate's in from Chile. Good to have you with us.
There we go, South America in the house.
We expand the horizon here tonight. BYU legend Gifford Nielsen is on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus, Eddie, and Mountain America Credit Union. All right, let's get to the story at hand. Bear Bachmeier. 2 games in, he's 2-0. Saturday was 17 of 27, 175 yards. No interceptions, rushed the ball 12 times for 7 yards, scored a touchdown, got sacked 3 times. Stanford came at him a little more aggressively than Portland State. What do you think about this freshman quarterback?
I'm a Bear fan. I am a Bear fan because this is a tenacious young athlete, and I really like the way he approaches the game. Everyone in Cougar Nation needs to be patient. Mm-hmm. As a quarterback, you have to be able to get and understand what capabilities you have and what you can do. Because, Blaine, you know this, when you're a freshman quarterback and you look downfield, nobody's open. And you just have to have repetition after repetition after repetition. I don't know if this has been said, but I want you all to think about this, because there was a game inside of a game on Saturday night. And I don't know if that's been brought up.
No.
Bear left his team at Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
You think that those guys were not going to come in and go after that little quarterback and just hit him as hard as they could and just keep coming after him and coming after him and coming after him? And I can tell you that there were some pretty interesting conversations on the field, and there were some pretty interesting words that were said on the field. And the thing that I like about this kid is he got hit a few times and he got hit hard, but that was the game inside the game. This was not a very friendly situation for him on that field because he and his brother left Stanford. Mm-hmm. You don't leave somebody and then just go into a game and say, "Hi guys, how are you doing?
Great to see you.
It sure is good to see you." No, you get pounded. And I'm telling you, those defensive coaches said, "You know what, that little quarterback, we're going to beat the tar out of that kid. We're going to go after him and we're going to hit him so hard and he's going to know that we're around." And Stanford had a very good football team. That defense was big. They were strong. They had, like you said, Blaine, early in the program, they've got great defensive backs. And so patiently, Bear just did his thing, and he stood in there and he threw the ball when he needed to throw it, and he completed passes when he needed to complete, and he took care of the ball. And when you got a great defense, you're gonna have opportunities, and he had more opportunities. If there, and I don't think it was a holding call on the jet sweep.
No,
yeah, I agree. Kalani didn't either.
And I think Kalani,
he got all over the refs. He was not happy.
And I think maybe Bear got in on the scrum when everybody was pushing him in.
Yeah.
This is a 45 or 50-3 game. If those touchdowns,
the block in the back was legit. That was not smart. They had to settle for a field goal there too.
Okay.
So they settled for 4 field goals when they could have easily scored touchdowns.
Yeah.
And little errors and bad calls.
Yeah.
Dave interviewed. You'll love this. Dave interviewed Bear last week and said, "Would you prefer to run over a guy at the goal line or throw a touchdown pass?" And he says, I think I'd rather run over a dude.
No. I got to get with him. I got to talk to him because you got to
talk some sense
you got to
into this
take
kid.
care of it. But that's his mentality right now.
He's a tough guy.
He's a fearless kid. He just wants to go out and win and play well, and the game is going to open up for him as he gets more repetition.
What did you see?
It's really important. Let me just say this to all Cougar Nation and everybody that's listening right now. It is so important just to get wins. Early in the season, just win and keep the confidence coming. If you lose a game, then you start to question, and you got an elite defense. They want to continue to play well and win. They know they've got a young quarterback, but you just have to win. Well, he's 2-0, and he hasn't given the ball away, and he's just doing what he needs to do right now to continue to get comfortable in his position. Here's what I see. Every team that they play will come after him. They've got blitz packages. They're going to be bringing people all over the place. Blaine, you also know this, that once you start to recognize blitz packages, you can burn people. But as a freshman quarterback, you've got to be able to see it, and you've got to be able to say, okay, man, they're overloaded on the left-hand side or they're overloaded on the right-hand side. I'm not protected. I've got to slide a line. I've got to get some people out there. And a couple of times some people came free.
Yeah.
Stanford did a really nice job with their scheme. So the thing that I saw is I saw a young quarterback continuing to grow up, and he's going to continue to get better. We all saw the strength of his arm, put a really nice throw into Chase down the middle of the field. I think you saw a Zach Wilson throw to Carson on the flat. That thing got out there very fast.
He's got velocity.
He's got velocity on his throws. Pinkston, he threw it a little bit too hard when Pinkston was coming across, or Pinkston would have scored a touchdown on that
Parker
play.
had a tough game.
He had a tough game.
That ball came out at like 60 miles an hour from 5 yards away.
But if he just lays that in there, Parker scores.
Yeah.
And those are just things that the intensity of the pocket will help you as you get used to more of it. But
how long did it take you, Giff? Because I watched, because I was watching back home, and you're one of the reasons I came here. When you were at the end of your career and somebody would show a blitz package, and I'm certain in your mind, because I remember when it finally got this way for me, where you're just going, oh, come on, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Like, you guys are going to do this?
Yeah.
Like, in your own mind, you're like, this is a touchdown.
Well,
right?
you just say.
But when did you make that switch from, my goodness, what are they doing, to, oh, please tell me they're not doing this because we're going to score on this play?
Yeah. I think you just evolve into it, Blaine. The more you see it, the more you understand it, the more you just have to make sure that your blocking schemes will protect you, right? And I think that once again, the Cougars are 2-0, and Bear is their quarterback, and he's just going to continue to get better, and he's a tenacious athlete. It was interesting. I went to practice right before the opener, and Kalani said, "Will you say something to the team?" And then will you just talk to Bear for just a minute? And I just want to share this. I'm not going to share everything that we talked about, but I said to our team, I said, okay, it was 50 years ago in 1975 that we were dreaming of having players like this here. We had some great players. Todd Christensen was a great player. Billick was a great player. You can get Chronister was a great player. Blank was we had so many really good players, but we didn't have the big, strong, powerful linemen that they have in today's game. And I said, 50 years ago, I can remember with LaVell thinking, this is the dream. So I'm telling the team this. I said, so 50 years later, I'm talking to all of you, and I'm thinking, this is what we were trying to accomplish 50 years ago, where you're in the national conversation. And it doesn't matter if they're in the top 25 right now. Forget about that. Just go play and win and keep doing what you're doing. And I said, told every one of them, I said, okay, so every team has its story. You guys are going to write a story. What's that story going to be like? Is it going to be a bestseller? Is it going to be one of the top stories of all of college football? And I said, I think it's going to be, because you guys are special, you care about each other, and it's a level of trust. And then Bear came to me, and Kalani had me just talk to him just for a little bit, and I said, Bear, you're young, you're in the huddle, you're looking up at all these veteran players, but you're the quarterback. And you can never, never, never take a day off. You can't take a play off, you can't take it. You have to look around, and if somebody is not doing what they're supposed to do, you've got to let them know that they need to run harder, they need to block better, because you're the quarterback. And you might be young, but you are the quarterback at BYU. What an honor. And he just kind of said, yes, sir.
Oh,
yes, sir.
He's a sponge, don't you feel, Gifford? I had a chance to visit with him for a little bit, and he just wants he wants to think about it. He wants to be thoughtful. He wants to do the right thing. He wants to be part of BYU, and he wants to do everything that Kalani's asking him to do. I mean, he's all in on all of this stuff.
Oh, no question.
On everything on the field, in the classroom, the culture. He is all in. I'm convinced of that after talking to him a couple of times, and it's really nice and refreshing.
It is refreshing, and to all Cougar Nation, I'm just telling you right now, every team is going to come after him, and they're going to hit him, and they're going to hit him hard. This kid will he'll get back up, and he'll pick his spots, and all of a sudden he'll throw something, and you're going, oh my gosh, that's what we've got.
Eric's on the stream from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Trayson over in Savannah, Georgia. David from Ojai, California, and many others. Jeff, we're gonna try to get to your question. Let's remember this one, because we got some football still to tackle here. Please ask Elder Nelson about his experiences with the Saints in Africa, given the explosive growth happening there now. I'd enjoy hearing his perspective about the growth of the church there. So let's footnote that, and we'll come back.
We'll come back and do that one for sure.
We're in this bye week now, and we got 2 weeks until East Carolina. What do you want Bear to work on over this next week and a half, now that he's away from game mode for a little bit?
Continued confidence in the pocket, and continued confidence in himself and trust in himself. You don't really know how fast things are until you get on the field, right, Blaine? Mm-hmm. You got guys coming around, inside, outside. You have to just feel the pocket. And so I want him to just continue to have confidence in himself and look at what he's done, continue to refine his skills, and get to a point where he just feels like he is the leader. And it just takes repetition. You can't coach it. You can't say, hey, Bear, you're the leader. No, you have to go put yourself under the center, and then you have to receive the ball, and then you have to watch people fly all around you and stand with confidence in that pocket and lead this team. You've got a world-class defense. Isn't this defense amazing to watch? They're just fast, and they're strong, and they're big, and they're powerful. You've got special teams that are very, very special. And then you've got an offense that just has to do what it needs to do for him to continue to get comfortable. And you know what's going to happen? I will just tell you this. It's going to happen. One day you're just going to wake up and you're going to say, oh, my gosh, I don't think he's a freshman quarterback anymore. He might be a sophomore. Yeah. And he's going to, oh, look at that throw. I think he's a junior.
I hope he's a sophomore by Colorado.
Yeah. Hey, even by maybe even I don't know. Colorado's pretty good. They've got a lot of talent, but
well, I mean, look at the stretch. I mean, you're going to go on the road to East Carolina. That's not going to be an easy game because you're going all the way across the country. Then you got Colorado, and you got West Virginia coming back here. That should be a nice one for us to play back here. And you got Utah coming in. I mean, Utah. You think Utah's going to sit back and just say, "Hey, Bear, it's good to meet you"? No, they're not going to do that. I
don't think so.
So, I mean, you're going to have teams. You're going to have good, strong teams coming after him.
How important is it for this offensive line in the run game to continue to produce for this young quarterback?
There's no question it has to happen, because I'm a Keaton Slovis guy. I loved Keaton Slovis, right?
Right.
But you can't throw 50 times a game in the Big 12. So what Keaton kept going out there doing is playing hurt. His elbow was hurt, his shoulder was hurt, but he just kept playing because he kept getting pounded. You can't do that. You have to run the ball. And these guys got to know that they have to run the ball to take pressure off Bear. If he gets in a situation where he's throwing 35 to 40 times a game, we're not going to win. We can't do that.
LJ's got to have 100 yards.
He's got to have 100 yards.
Yeah, that's a great formula.
And you know what? Little
Sione Moa?
Yeah. What a player he is.
He's been really good.
You have to be able to run the ball. And then I think one of the things that Aaron has to do is I think Aaron has to make things just a little bit easier for him, and he will. And I think just utilizing I want to utilize Carson just a little bit more inside. You know, I'm looking. I see games differently. You see games differently, and I'm looking at is he reading the defense and is he getting the ball to the appropriate person? And we're seeing that he is doing that. Mm-hmm. He had in the first game against Portland State, he had Carson up the middle. He looked off and he came back and he had man coverage and it was a touchdown. And that's exactly, the ball was bobbled just a little bit, but he was in man coverage and it was a touchdown. I'm thinking, Bear, great job. You threw it to the right guy.
Found the right guy.
Yeah. You found the right guy. And if he continues to find the right guy, and I think utilizing the tight ends inside will kind of open up the game for everyone, the outside guys.
And isn't it important for A-Rod? So you play with Doug Scoville, who recruited me, and Doug knew you. Like, he knew what you liked to do. He knew what you were good at. And as he's calling plays, he's tailoring what he's calling for Gifford Nielsen. This is Giff's skill set. And you knew that that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And I had Mike Holmgren, I had Norm Chow, and I get thrown in that national championship game. And the first thing Mike Holmgren does is he pulls me over and goes, "Hey, Norm and I know what you like.
Yeah.
Like, we got you. Like, we're going to call all the things you're really, really good at. So just get out there and just play," right?
Right.
How important is it that A-Rod figure that out for Bear? Because it's not as he hasn't been around for a couple of years for them to figure that out. He's only been here. How important is it that by the time this Big 12 comes, he knows exactly what Bear's comfortable with and what he's best at?
It's vital. I mean, you are only as good, honestly. You're only as good as your offensive coordinator and your quarterback coach. You have to have that. You have to have that relationship. That's one of the reasons that I believe Zach Wilson struggled so much in New York, because Greg Knapp, right after he was drafted, died.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking,
right.
oh, Zach, oh my gosh, you're in New York and you don't have a quarterback coach. You're dead.
And he's the one that wanted him there.
And he was the guy, and he was running the same offense as all of the West Coast offense.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, oh, Zach, I feel so bad. You have to have a quarterback coach, and A-Rod is really good. I mean, look at what he's done. But he can help him out a little bit more with easier throws and high percentage throws. Let Bear just continue to grow and develop that way. But I'm really impressed with A-Rod and everything that he's doing.
Gifford Nielsen is on The Wise Guys, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch all around the world tonight. Let's shift gears for a couple of minutes. President Nelson turns 101 tomorrow, which is amazing. You can look at it 20 different ways. It's amazing every single time. 101 tomorrow. Considering all of your personal interactions with him over the years, and I asked you to think about this coming in, what are some of your most memorable moments?
Well, one was that he invited me to MC with Ruth Todd his 95th birthday party.
It was a long time ago.
That's right.
It was a long time ago, and so we did it. He had 21,000 of his closest friends in the conference center, and he had millions around the world just watching and celebrating his 95th birthday. And here we are, 101 years of age, and he is just so delightful to be around. his leadership style is to be around all of us. So we all have personal stories with him and personal experiences with him, because he would open up the lunchroom and he kind of, with the first presidency and the Quorum of the 12, we could actually have lunch. And one of the conversations was about Robert Metcalf.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting when your last name is Nielsen and his last name is Nelson.
Yeah.
It's really interesting if your wife's name is Wendy and his wife's name is Wendy.
That's right. I didn't think
and it's
about
really
that.
interesting, and I think I'm going to get this right. I hope I get this right. But his secretary before she had a baby was Wendy K. Larson Olson. Might have been, I think that's what it was. And my wife is Wendy K. Olson Nielsen. And so it's, you know, with us, we've had some funny stories, and we'll just tell one quick story.
Sure.
And I was walking down the hall. Well, let me just preface it by saying this. When you are a general authority, your mail, it goes to 47 East South Temple. So everybody's mail goes there, because you never know where you're going to be sent in the world, and you never know the day at the time. So we got all of our mail at 47 East South Temple, even his. So he came down the hallway one time, and I said, "Hello, President." He said, "Hi, Giff." He calls me, calls us by our first name. "Hi, Giff." And I said, "How you doing today?" And he says, "Fine. I just about paid your power bill this morning." And I said, "You did what?" And he said, "Yeah, I wrote out a check to pay for the power bill, and I found out it was your power bill and not ours." And you know what I thought to myself? Can I have that check? Can you just, I want to frame that check. I want to put it up there. But he is just he's such an inspiration to be around. And you just think of the wisdom. Let me just say this. I don't think there is a more deeply spiritual, smarter, gifted communicator who has increased his talents more than anyone on the face of the earth. I would put him up against anyone. The number of languages he speaks, the number of, the heart-lung machine is an indication. The inspired things he tells us at General Conference all the time. He just
craves knowledge,
marvelous.
right? His whole life, it's just been craving and taking in knowledge. And
so we're hoping to celebrate his 105th birthday and his 110 birthday. We want him to just keep going.
So for folks to try and picture this, you're walking down the hall there at the church administration building, and we've all had the chance to be there. And you walk past the lunchroom, and there's President Nelson. He's like, "Hey, Giff, come over and sit down."
Yeah,
it's that
he would do
that casual.
I've had 3 or 4 experiences where he's been waiting for me, and he'd say, "I want you to have lunch with me because I need to talk to you about a few things." And I'm thinking, okay, sure.
Has he ever once said, and be honest, because you're an honest guy, has he ever once said, "Giff, what are we doing on third down?"
No, but I'll tell you what, they're all involved in what we're doing on the football field and on the basketball court and all the fields at BYU.
Yeah.
They really, really care about BYU athletics. I love this. Let me just say this, too, because you've got President Brian Ashton. I love President Brian Ashton. And when we start talking about Africa and what Brian is doing with BYU Pathway Worldwide, BYU Pathway Worldwide, in many respects, is the answer in Africa, in West Africa. Stake presidencies involved in BYU Pathway Worldwide, bishoprics, Relief Society presidents, primary presidents, and they feel like that it is the way that they elevate themselves in the community. And so the reason that West Africa is growing so significantly is because of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to talk about Jesus Christ, but everybody wants to add to that eternal families. And you want to add to that self-reliance. The glory of God is intelligence.
Yeah.
And what President Brian Ashton and all of the people with BYU Pathway Worldwide, ask him about it when he comes on.
We will. We got a lot of questions
about what's happening in West Africa. We have almost, I don't know what the latest numbers are, but it's probably pretty close to 20,000 BYU Pathway students in Nigeria alone. We've got a university in West Africa without a building. No buildings, but we have that kind of
and isn't that an extension of President Nelson's vision for go improve your life with education, and it's not just BYU and it's not Rick's, right? It's BYU Idaho now, and you look at the whole family, and we'll talk with President Ashton about it, but the whole education family with BYU Pathway now, there's really no The world is the campus.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that well said, because that's exactly what they believe there. What happens with BYU Pathway Worldwide and with the curriculum and everything that they're doing, especially in West Africa, because I'm familiar with that, it's the pathway to self-reliance. It's the pathway for somebody to go get married and to have an eternal family and to have children and grandchildren.
Don't take all of President Ashton's answers. He's got to have some of those answers.
This guy is one of the smartest guys on the planet, and he's got so many more answers that's
awesome. We look forward to it. We're going to visit with him in just a bit. Mark's on the stream from Liberty, Missouri here tonight. Blaine, let's do 5 questions.
Yeah, let's do this.
For Giff. We're going to get back to football.
Mm-hmm.
Our 5 questions are presented by Strategy Square. Let Chantel give your company's social media presence a boost. Find out how at strategysquare.co. Tonight, the College Football Hall of Famer and NFL veteran is going to reveal the top 5 most influential people in your football career. Now, we categorize it football career because there's so many influential people in your life. Mm-hmm. But let's hone in on football.
So can I go 5?
Let's go 5, 4, 3. I have a feeling I know a few, but
I want to put Dick Hill and Bry Lake, my high school coaches at Provo High School.
Are they number 5?
Yeah, because Dick Hill got it started, and Bry Lake was our coach our senior year, and that's when we should have won the state championship and didn't. But we were so close. So I put those high school coaches because they were there in our football career to get us focused on what was going to happen. And you know what? 5 of our guys on the Provo High School football team that year got scholarships at BYU. That's almost unheard of.
That's a lot.
Were the Law Boys playing when you were there?
And
then they went to
Vance was just in with
us.
Vance was here last week. Yeah.
Okay, now look, Bry Lake. How do you spell his name?
B-R-Y.
B-R-Y. Oh, B-R-Y. Bry Lake and Dick Hill.
I think it's B-R-Y.
You know, high school coaches too. So 5 of you went on, which is a lot.
Yeah.
But high school coaches play such a vital role in society. They mold the other 100 that didn't go play. I'm certain were impacted by these guys, and it changed their life. The opportunity to play high school football.
I mean, if you just think about where you start. I mean, Dev Duke was kicking. Kelly Harris was a lineman. Steve Dewey, lineman. Reed Brown, Jeff Smith. I mean, it was just we were all headed to BYU.
Yeah,
it's just
so fun.
Dick Hill and Bry Lake,
they're number 5. They're co-5. How about 4?
Okay, number 4 is King Hill. King Hill was one of the great players for the Philadelphia Eagles, but he was my quarterback coach when I went to the NFL. So he was my guy. I'm telling you, quarterback coaches, he's the guy that said, here's how you play in the NFL. I'm going to take care of you. You're going to be backing up Pastorini, but we're going to learn the game. You have to always be ready. We trust in you. We believe in you. If anything happens to Pastorini, you're going to play. But King Hill was instrumental in my development in the National Football League.
Did he ever just tell you, get the ball to Earl Campbell and get out of the way?
Yes, he said, get the ball to Earl Campbell and get out of the way, because Earl Campbell was
Remember
a beast.
when Phillips somebody said, Earl just carried the ball 38 times again. Isn't he going to get tired? And Earl said, why? The ball's not heavy.
We used to have to do a mile run. And Earl was just horrible at the mile run. And somebody asked Bum, he said, is the guy in shape? Can he go play? And Bum said, I've never had first in a mile. Not a first in a mile. It's first and 10.
First in a mile.
He doesn't have to run the mile very fast.
Bum always had those little, he was the Yogi Berra of professional football. So,
all right.
Okay, so King Hill, quarterback coach, back with the Oilers, is number 4. How about number 3?
And then Bum
Phillips.
Yeah, he was legendary. He was so remarkable, and he was a Texas legend. This guy knew how to bring people together like no one I've ever seen. So he could take people from all parts of the country in all economic and socioeconomic conditions and bring us together as a team like no one I've ever seen.
You know, when you pass on to the next life, he'll be right there.
He will be
to meet you.
He will be.
You guys had quite a relationship.
We had. It was deeper than anybody will know.
Yeah.
But I finally left him in Goliad, Texas, the last time I saw him. It was unbelievable.
He'll be there.
Yeah, he'll be there.
He'll say, and you were right. That's
and
the other thing he's going to say.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 2.
Doug Scoville. Has to be Scoville.
I knew that one.
Yeah, has to be Doug Scoville. And I don't know if he gets the credit he deserves, but he is the mastermind of what we're seeing in football today. Everybody that is playing this wide open offense, it started with Doug Scoville, and you can just go to Bill Walsh and get the answer to that. Bill's on the other side now, but it was Doug Scoville. He had the West Coast offense, and everybody has developed their offense from the first West Coast offense, and that started at BYU in 1976.
Yeah, even what everybody calls air raid, and they give Mike credit for.
No, Mike Leach.
Mike Leach.
He was in the bushes.
He was in the bushes. He was studying what LaVell and Doug and those guys were doing back then. And the air raid is an extension, just spreading it out a little bit, but the concepts are the same as West Coast offense.
Exactly.
Yep. So there you go. Doug Scoville. I agree with you.
That takes us to the big one.
Yeah, it has to be LaVell. I mean, LaVell is just iconic. I mean, he didn't look like he was smart, but he was really smart. I mean, LaVell was just such a classic deal, especially back then. He kept saying, "Now, what do you think we're going to do here? What are we going to do here? What are we going to do here?" And he was just kind of inquisitive about everything. And Doug was running this high-powered offense, and just LaVell didn't know about the offense, but he just said, "Doug, it's yours. Let's go." And that's the genius of LaVell. Yeah. And then when Doug left, Wally English comes in for a year.
Oh, yeah. Mark sat right here and told us this story.
Yeah. And then, LaVell gets Doug back.
Yeah, he did.
And makes Mark an All-American, and then makes Jim an All-American. And how they ever got Jim to redshirt, I'll never know, but they did it.
Jim was out. Mark was out.
Yeah.
And Mark told us, he says, I never told anybody this, but I was gone. I was going to go to law school. I was done playing football. Jim was transferring. And LaVell somehow got Doug to come back.
Yeah.
And they both stayed.
But here's the beauty of the offense of an offensive coordinator, because we're all different, Blaine. You know this. And how does he take me, and then he shifts to Mark, and then he shifts to Jim, and then they shift to Steve. All different athletes with different abilities, but they all made the adjustment.
They thrived, absolutely thrived.
They made the adjustment, or those coaches made the adjustment.
That's great coaches. And Doug was for most of those. Right?
Oh yeah,
for most of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was Ted Toner that saw the spark in Steve, and then Mike Holmgren had Steve and really made him who he is. But Doug was all the rest of you. And
everybody was learning. And Norm sat as our tight end coach and just learned the entire offense. And then when his time came up, he tailored it.
There you go.
Yeah,
the top 5 most influential people in Giff's football career.
I've never been asked that question, but it's kind of interesting because what you got me doing was reflecting on the influential people in my life and the steps that happened in those high school. You start in high school. You have to start in high school because that's where your love starts.
That's what we do here on the Wise Guys. Yeah. Because that's where all the stories are, aren't they?
It's beautiful.
When you text President Nelson a happy birthday tomorrow, will you tell Dave and Blaine, say hello from the Wise Guys? Wish him a happy 101st.
It's been a number of years when he was quite a bit younger. I don't know if you remember this, Dave. One time we're sitting at our position for a basketball game, and right where we called the game from, the general authorities visiting, you sat behind us a few times there in the president's row there. Well, one time we had a tap, and it was President Nelson. He goes, "Hey, if you need me, I'm just going to be right over here." And we're like, okay, well, we got you. It'd be good. We'll call you down if we need you. But he just is.
He's a remarkable,
amazing.
He came in one time, sat down in his seats, and I turned around and we made eye contact. And he goes, "Hey, Dave."
Yeah.
I was just like,
he will do that.
Hello, President.
He's told us, we watch what you're doing, which Dave and I thought, wow, that's a heavy burden. That's a heavy burden right there.
They care.
Yeah.
They care what's going on. I always say this. He's always concerned about and always preaching the most important thing, the most significant thing is to gather scattered Israel. And I teach that when I'm talking to players and things like that here, I'm saying this is the athletic arm of gathering scattered Israel. And so we have to win. We have to be on top of our game. I've said that before on this program. You have to be in the conversation. When you're in the conversation, everybody wants to know more.
That's true.
Amen to that.
Scott from Idaho Falls says, my wife, Bobby Jo, says hi to Giff.
Max Warner's daughter.
Oh, my goodness.
So
that goes all the way back to
there you go.
High School.
There's a hello. Gifford Nielsen with us tonight. Thank you so much. You're welcome on the show anytime you want. We just love talking about stories and all that.
You guys
stuff.
are very special, and one of the great things about everything that's going on here is the level of communication with the fans and being able to put the perspectives together of what's happening with games and things like that. And once again, I just want to encourage everybody, Cougar Nation, please be patient with our little quarterback.
Yes.
And you know what? We're going to be okay. We're going to win some games. They're not going to be absolutely beautiful, but there's going to come a time where this thing is going to open up and you're going to see some amazing things happen, and you're going to go, yes, we're continuing on the right track. And let me just say this, and I'm so happy for Jake. Jake landed in Tulane, and he's playing now, and he's playing well, and we loved him here. And that's just what happens. You just
Dave and I still text back and forth with Jake, and Kalani even said he was very gracious in how he handled and exited, and he's been very grateful to BYU, and he said wonderful things, and we know that he actually means those things, which is really cool. So we wish him the absolute best.
And it says volumes about what is happening around here under the leadership of our new athletic director, Brian Santiago. What's happening here is just there's an excitement for football. I mean, look at that. What did you feel when you went to the stadium and you saw that stadium? Energy. And what are you thinking about basketball? And what are you thinking about track and field? And what are you thinking about volleyball? And what are you thinking about soccer? I mean, it's happening here at BYU in significant ways.
Dilgy Taylor was on the show in that seat last week, and when she left, we were all ready to go run through a wall.
Yeah. She's amazing. Yeah. She is an amazing addition to everything we're doing here at BYU, along with all of the other coaches and all of the administrators. It's just a really fun time to be a Cougar.
The great Gifford Nielsen, thanks for being
Thank
here.
you, Giff.
Hey, sure appreciate you.
Would you please go over and say hi to President Ashton?
I will, because I love it.
We'll do a couple things, and then we'll let you guys visit for a second, and then we'll bring him in.
Love that guy right there. And I love what he's doing in West Africa.
One of the greatest quarterbacks and all-around human beings come through BYU, Gifford Nielsen, here on the Wise Guys. And